Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Friends from Film School. I'm Luke Pilgrim.
I'm Brad Kennedy.
And I'm Ellis Treese.
Ooh.
Very radio voice.
I wanted to add some flair to it, you know?
Yeah. I liked it. So today, I thought it'd be kind of cool if we talked about tips for young filmmakers. Things that maybe we wish we had known. And I think maybe it's stuff that helps anybody, but especially young filmmakers.
Yeah.
That's a whole category, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said stuff that we wish we might have known starting out, because that's kind of the way I was thinking about it coming in, was like, what was something I wish someone would have told me about before getting started?
Yeah.
Definitely, just all the stuff that you learn from running your own business, that you've picked up over the years. There's a lot of lessons that can be learned in that, and you kind of evolve over time, and you pick up new skills, new techniques. You kind of learn you learn the methods and the way things were supposed to be ran, but going into it on your own, it's kind of like, what am I supposed to do with all this?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And even younger, like if you're a teenager trying to make movies and stuff like that, I was thinking. So, number one of the thoughts I have, and we talk about this all the time, is basically stop talking about it and just do it.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be my number one as well. I remember one time working on a film shoot. It was an independent short film, and I was like a sophomore in college. And like the producer for it, I'm like doing grip work, PA, whatever, and we're in the studio, and the producer, kind of gets me aside, and he's like, "Hey, man, what do you want to do? Obviously you don't want to be a PA. You don't want to be moving all this equipment." And he's like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, I'd like to direct one day." And he's like, "Okay, well, just do it." And, that was such a crucial thing to me, because it just made the most sense, where it's like, okay, if you want to become a gaffer, which is, working with the lighting, or a grip, working in the electric department, or hair and makeup, anything with the film department, you just got to do it,
Yeah.
So it's 100%. Like, if you want to direct, direct.
And it's hard. It's a simple concept, but sometimes it's really hard to get started, especially even just getting the words on the page, and that's where it's like, I know we talked last episode a little bit about outlining and stuff like that, but if you can just literally just start writing stuff down, whatever, just get the ball rolling, because I think the misconception is that you have to wait for art to come to you. You have to wait to be inspired. And now that happens for sure. There's definitely times where I've been inspired by something, and life is just continuously an inspiration. Everything you go through, excuse me, can be like put into your writing, or in your directing, or filmmaking, or whatever type of art you do. But you really have to sit down and put in the time, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a discipline to it.
Yes.
Is that what you were going to say, Ellis?
Well, I wanted to flip it on you here.
Okay.
So you say that you have to just start, but what kind of advice would you give to young filmmakers who they don't have access to a camera that's readily available? They don't have access to Final Draft, which is a script writing software. They kind of lack the tools that are necessary to make a good video, but they have the passion and drive to start.
So you're talking about people like, hey, I'm in high school, I'm a freshman, I don't have any of the gear, that someone like us, a video production company would have.
Exactly.
How to get like that first couple of steps.
Yeah, I would say you don't need it. You definitely don't need a screenwriting software, because you can write it on pencil and paper. You can do whatever to get started. And in terms of camera, iPhones, I don't know how many kids don't have a phone these days.
Yeah.
Most of them have a phone. You could literally shoot it on your phone for sure, right? And then there's editing
probably
software.
Free editing software on your phone as well.
Yeah.
Or, I know when I got started, I don't even know if it's a thing anymore, but like Windows Movie Maker, I made so many things on that.
Yeah. And this actually kind of leads really well into my second point that I thought up, which was to work with what you've got and actually embrace the limitations, instead of letting it control you, or letting it be a fear to even getting started. Use those limitations to make something really good. And a great example is when we were shooting our second movie, Sunnyside Drive. There was a lot of things in the script that we needed that we didn't have. Because a lot of times we'll write with no limitations on ourselves, and then we have to figure it out. So we needed a location with 2 houses, which we didn't have. But then, or at least in terms of the way the script read, it was kind of like a suburb.
Yeah, because we worked with our screenwriter friend Adam on that one, and Adam did the bulk of the writing, and then we kind of helped shape it. So, but the final draft, I guess, with him before we got to the shooting script, which is the script that you have to have really laying out, this is what the shots would look like, this is what we're working with our location, all like that. But I remember Ash, if you're familiar with the movie, he kind of hits like a propane tank or whatever, but in the script I think he hit like a bird fountain, but it took place more in a suburb, right?
Yeah, he was like riding down the hill from one house to the other, like over the driveway, and he was going to crash into his neighbor's yard. And we pictured that sort of ET, like suburb, vibe, but we just didn't have access to that. We couldn't find 2 houses, especially if you've ever done location scouting. I mean, it's tough to find one house that'll let you film there, much less 2 across the street from each other. So we ended up switching it up a little because my family, my grandpa has a lake house, actually 2 lake houses in Hiawassee, Georgia. So we realized, we went up there, Brad and I went one weekend, and we just tested out shots up there, and we were like, we can make this work because it's what we had available. I mean, even with the Apology Service, our first movie, we wrote the script based on what we had available, which was we were in school, so we had the college campus at our disposal. We wrote in these futuristic settings, and there's a lot of buildings on campus that work great for this sort of sci-fi look we needed. We kind of shot for the stars a little with having a robot, but I have a brother-in-law, but he's really good at building things and creating things.
We definitely lucked out on that.
So that was something that we used to our advantage, even though technically we probably wrote it in not knowing how we would do it, but we figured it out. So I think really my larger point is, if you have something like a prop, even like at your disposal, you could write a story around that, starting out, just to get your feet wet, just to get the ball rolling. If your family lives on a farm, then write a story about that. Write a story that works in that setting because you have access to it.
I would say too that it's like, that mindset of working with what you have, it's you're never going to get past that. It's like if you're making student films, independent films, major motion pictures, it's like a lot of times some of the most classic movies, like Jaws is a great example. It's like you work with the limitations you have. In Jaws, they had a robotic shark that they were going to use for the majority of the movie, and then it had technical difficulties. They had a lot of issues with it, so they made the decision of just working around it. And you kind of work with the circumstances that you're given. And especially for independent film, it's like you can't throw more money at it to fix the problem. So it's like you just work with what you have.
And I would say that it's ironic in the fact that those limitations that you have, that you think are working against you, are actually what open up avenues of more creative ways of thinking.
Yeah,
for sure.
Now most movies nowadays can kind of like heavily rely on like the digital world to achieve, the sky's the limit. But I think that a lot of older movies like Jaws were really just confined to the times, and they had to find creative ways to make their shots work. And I think that that's where some of the best storytelling comes from, is like those creative solutions.
Yes. And if you want to be, say you want to be like a camera operator, or even if you want to be a director, or a director of photography, whatever, if it something visual like that, then you really need to be practicing that daily. And like when I went back to school, we were in film school together, I got really obsessed with just taking photos every day. And this was probably kind of, Instagram was like fairly new, I think, at the time, but I was just taking photos every day on my Instagram, and I used that just to learn about composition, framing up a shot, because it's the same thing, taking a photo or framing up a shot, and that's the other thing, is like just studying art in general. You can learn so much 100%. Because really art, a lot of it is like, the methods have changed, but a lot of that stuff is consistent. A lot of the truths you find in art have stayed the same for centuries. Things that work, things that or appealing to the eye or whatever, there's so many things that you can learn from. And that's why, like obviously Brad and I had a fine arts degree when we were in film school. So we studied a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it really helped in terms of just our visual storytelling
And
skills.
Touching on that too, every single day in high school when I was, I think from a sophomore up, I had found a website that was recommended to me from my friend, and it was called videocopilot.net, and it's just a huge collection of free tutorials that teach young filmmakers visual effects. And I would just sit down in all my classes every day and just follow the tutorial and just try to recreate and expand upon every single tutorial. And that's I self-taught myself that just from practicing it every single day, day in and day out. You have to like have that passion for something, and no matter what it is in the film world, if you have a passion for a certain aspect of it, you just need to practice it, study it, and just do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think especially for you, it's like you have that background where it's like you just hit those tutorials like all the time, and it's like you can really see how you've developed your own style just by learning the framework that's set up.
Exactly.
And it's just putting in that homework, that effort, and just like taking the time to really try like to master it. What, like how many hours do they say? Like it's like that
10,000 hours.
10,000 until you become a master. So it's like the more in hours you put in, and I guess too, the earlier like if this is what I want to do, like go ahead and start working at it.
Right. And that's not saying that like if you don't get started in high school or college, then you just can't join the film world. I mean, you can do it at any moment in time in your life. You just have to have that passion, and you just have to go out there and do it, even if you're on your own and you're by yourself and you don't have any friends helping you.
So so that would be my question, like plain devil's advocate. Okay, so I'm a kid in high school and I have no friends that want to make movies with me.
It's a sad high school life.
Well, I mean,
no, that's true though.
It's like you might have friends, but it's like they're probably more interested in trying
and other things,
to be an NBA basketball star or robotics or something completely different.
Right.
Okay. I would say just go out there and shoot something that's within your means to do so on your own.
Yeah.
Even if it's something that's like stop motion, research stop motion, and you're still getting the same techniques. You're learning how the camera works, how composition works. Just find something that you can do on your own.
Yeah.
And then just post it, share it with the world.
Yeah.
And keep making stuff.
Like that's when I was a kid. That's what I did all the time. I was like I was by myself at home, whatever, and I would just be in the summertime and I would just be like making stop motion movies all day just for fun. And then a few times my friends would actually get involved. We made a movie called The Blob. We had like a beanbag chair, a big beanbag that was green, and that was like the monster. And it was it was so crazy though. It was shot on like an old camcorder, and there wasn't any editing software, I don't guess at the time, but I used like
not digital.
So I used like a tape machine, like a VCR, and I'd play one, and you start the other one, and that's the only way that I could like cut it in and out if I wanted to do any kind of editing. So you usually tried to shoot the movies in order. So I mean, like, especially compared to that, and even before our time, like Steven Spielberg was making movies on his Super 8 camera or whatever it was. It's like those, you just work with those limitations, embrace them, especially. And now it's like, there's no excuse to not be able to make something of actually really good quality, because of the access to iPhones and digital editing.
And you guys started, on your own separately, but because you had that drive and passion, you guys have created a company that's growing more and more successful by the day. Do you want to elaborate on maybe like kind of like how you guys initially like got started, or like for anyone who's maybe stepping out of college and they're not really sure what to do next.
So now we're going from the very young filmmaker, anyone getting started,
to maybe the
now
next
college.
step up.
I will say, I guess, to end that like young filmmaker phase of like advice, I would think too, like, I know for me personally, like my work, and I think it was doing like those stop motion projects and just trying like any school project I had, trying to make something video wise with it. that definitely helped, and really like just trying to put that work in. But I know once I came to college and once I met other people who were just as passionate and were kind of coming from that same place, it's like, then it became like this kind of like the snowball started to, it was building, and I was kind of working on like pushing it, and it was slowly building throughout high school. And, and then once I got to college, it really started to grow and like go more and more downhill, because you're just meeting more and more collaborators and more people with passion.
And like the reason Brad and I became such good friends was because we were working on everyone's sets all the time, because like a lot of people might try to coast through, especially if you're like in an art program, some people might try to coast through that, but really it's the time to dig in, and like work on,
for sure.
Work on as many sets as you can, because that's like the only time you'll have that free time. I mean, obviously you're in school, you might be working as well, but you have access to a lot of different film sets. People, your friends and peers are making all these different types of movies, different styles, and you get to experience that, and you get to work in different positions, find out what you like and what you're good at, and
work with actual film gear.
Yeah, work with film gear, because the college, has the gear that you don't have the, ability to maybe buy or rent or whatever. So Brad and I met through that. We were both working on other people's films, and we realized it was a consistent thing where we were kind of the people volunteering to be on set, to do, and we kind of fell into like certain duties that we knew we were good at, And so then basically kind of, I guess like I guess we were in our senior year, or we were, I just came up to Brad one day because I had a concept for an idea, and I asked him if he wanted to sit down and write something together, which really, I don't think we had done anything. You don't really get to do much collaborative writing in school.
At least through the program we went through.
So I asked Brad if we wanted to sit down and like hash out some ideas together, and that was the beginning of our first movie, The Apology Service.
Yeah. So I mean, really, like that night, we really kind of wrote down really the outline to pretty much the movie you see. Like I think we might have removed like one or two characters from it. Yeah. But like the majority of like the story beats, I think we had actually nailed. It wasn't like we added in the robot, 2 or 3 weeks later. It's like we had the robot there, and our film professor, Carrie Schrader, she really helped us hone in the script, because we had the outline. I think we wrote the first draft, and then she was kind of like, okay, work on this, work on that, really kind of compress it, but that kind of was the stepping stone, because we were able to, we did a Kickstarter for that project. We raised $5,000 to make the movie, which was like a huge step from like all the student films we had worked on, because
there was no budget.
There was no budget. All the stuff we had previously shot, was just what we could find and afford. It was still going back to working within your limitations.
And it was always like actors that were in the film program pretty much, so we actually were kind of stepping out. We were holding auditions for the parts, trying to find people that we thought were perfect for the role, instead of just like, well, so-and-so in class is pretty good, let's get them for this part. We were trying to find the person that we actually could see as that character. So it was like kind of a first step of really becoming directors and producers and writers.
And I remember, speaking of like holding auditions, like it was us in you and Carrie's apartment, and Ryan Lippman comes up. Luke had met with Ryan, to kind of talk to him about the role.
And I gave him the script.
Yeah, so they had kind of had like a meeting beforehand. They had some history, way back.
I knew him back years ago. We both played in two different bands.
And this is Ryan Lippman, who plays Jackson, the lead in the film, in case you're not aware. But I remember he came to y'all's apartment and he did the end scene where, spoiler alert for The Apology Service. If you haven't watched it, if you want to pause it now and then watch it, it's a 20-minute video. It's on YouTube and Vimeo. But Alex the robot dies, and this is Jackson's best friend. So he gets really emotional. So this is Ryan acting out that scene with a yoga mat, since we didn't have the robot prop made. And Ryan's hugging this yoga mat, just
bawling.
in tears. Yeah, like he's actually crying. He's going all in on this, and it's like, just the funniest.
It was awesome and hilarious and also really great at the
Yeah.
same time, and because he did such a good job, and we were like, well, you got the part.
Yeah, yeah, that was when we were like, it was like so surreal to me, because it's like we knew, okay, you're the guy for it, but like just watching a guy act this out with a yoga mat is like just really
It's a real testament to his ability to act.
Yeah, for sure.
That's always the craziest thing, honestly, is we write something. You write in this sort of vacuum, and then it gets put into the world, and then we get audition tapes sent to us. And it's like, not only this actor is, pouring their heart into their portrayal of a character we wrote, there's also someone reading the line with them off camera, reading the other lines or the actions. And it's a surreal feeling to be like, this is something we wrote in this vacuum. We wrote it in our office or maybe like in my living room. And then now there's out in the world, this is coming back to us. Someone's recording an audition and we're hearing the words that we wrote. So even as many auditions as we've done now, it still always hits me. And I'm like, wow, it's such a cool experience.
There's that. And then it's like, oh, wow, this is way harder to act when you don't have the props and you're not in the location. That's what I always think, especially for our commercial work, because oftentimes it's more comical, I guess. And I'm like, oh, they need that prop, but they're like making it work without it. So but sometimes it's pretty funny.
There's a lot of creativity though that comes with that from audition tapes.
I love when they they'll have their own props, or they'll be in the actual wardrobe, like for the new movie Eddie Dupreece, the one we just shot, he plays a butler, and he had on his full tux in his audition tape that came in. And so that just goes like kind of that extra mile for us. So we see the actor like putting in the effort to find some wardrobe, to like really get into character, and to sell that character on screen and make us believe that they are the character and that they really want the part.
For sure.
So you guys have kind of talked about how you got started in college. How did your transition go from the apology service and making that movie into becoming a full-fledged business that shoots these commercials, music videos, and docu-promos? What was that transition kind of like?
Well, we held a premiere for the apology service, and we were really, I guess, promoting it a lot on campus and everything, kind of playing it up. There was a really good buzz about it. People definitely were talking about it, which was super exciting for us. And we had like over 300 people come to the premiere, and
it was pretty much like, we didn't sell tickets, but it was like standing room only.
Right. And so all that buzz, I think, really helped us in terms of gaining a little bit of recognition, I guess, from the college itself, from the art department or whatever. And so when we graduated, I guess right before we graduated, they reached out to us about producing a commercial for the fine arts department.
Yeah, visual arts.
The visual arts. And that was our first job. That was our first paying job as Sozo Bear Film. But we didn't even have the company set up yet, but it was just the first. I mean, Brad and I did a few things before we graduated where like someone had asked me to do some like recording or whatever. And so I got Brad, or we kind of worked on it together, but it wasn't like this where it was like someone's hiring us for our creative, combined effort.
Right.
And so,
and like sitting in meetings, talking about, this is what we want y'all to film. What are your ideas? How can you do that in a creative way? It was like a whole new realm of like filmmaking that really film school didn't prepare you for, at least, our program,
right.
and not to say that's to discount it. It was like preparing us for, visual storytelling, and more so just narrative filmmaking. And, it becomes something that, when you go into the business realm and do more like commercials or documentary promotional films, what we call docu-promos, it's like you're still telling the story, but it's like the mission's a little bit different, because you're trying to make sure, you're selling the service or the good, or the company that
product
you're promoting.
Right.
Yeah. So basically we had a kind of a gap where we weren't sure exactly what we were going to do. We graduated, we had that project, so we were definitely working on that with the school, and that was a really long project because we had to go to all the different campuses and film all of these different classrooms and make like what ended up being like a 5-minute video basically. So it was a long project, and that was on the books. We're working on that, but we didn't have other forms of income or anything like that other than at least in the film world. I still had my job. I was working for the bookstore at the university, working at the bookstore on campus. And Brad basically,
I was traveling back and forth from my parents' house. So, my parents live in Dade County, Georgia, which is like 3 hours from Dahlonega. So, I'm either couch surfing between Luke and Carrie or my brother, at his apartment, and it was just kind of like that driving back and forth, whenever we'd have to film or, maybe we got a meeting set up or whatever, it was like, figuring it out.
Yeah.
But
So he would sleep on like an air mattress at my house for like a week or whatever, and then go to his brother's house for like a week.
your air mattress, because Ryan Littman, star of The Apology Service and so many other Sozo Bear movies, popped that air mattress and broke it. I think he jumped on it or something.
Yeah, dude, he like swan dived onto it, cannonball into it. And
So he made my life so much worse whenever I'd stay with Luke and Carrie, to the point where I'm like, look, man, you can keep your air mattress. I'm buying my own, and I'll pump it up when I
Did you
get
buy
here.
one?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. But yeah, you'd wake up and you're like a burrito, dude. You were like in a taco.
Just all wrapped up.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was pretty much deflated by the time you woke up. But yeah, Ryan has a habit of breaking things. So
I mean,
it
I
was
do
bound-
too. So
Yes. So where were we? So we did that for a while, just trying to get the company off the ground. We basically made, at some point in there, we decided, let's do this. Let's try to make this company and do this.
Yeah.
See, can we do this full time? Can we like survive just making films or doing video production work? And I guess we graduated in December, and then by March, by March we had the LLC and everything set up, and by that point I think we had our first full, like, really big client and everything, enough income that we could live off of for the foreseeable, at least like 6 months or something. We knew if we paid ourselves a certain payroll and all that. And at that point it was like I left my job. I don't remember when you moved back.
I mean, I
Dahlonega.
still, for a while, I was like, I think I got to the point where I was staying with my brother and his roommate, and I had my air mattress, and it was probably a difficult time for them because I'm not deflating that thing because I'm staying like pretty much all week now. And
where was it? In the living room?
In the living room, yeah. So it was like right in front of, there was a couch, an L-shaped couch, a futon, and then the air mattress right in front of both. So maybe I would deflate it. I'm kind of getting hazy on the details, but like maybe during the day I would deflate it. But
Use your photographic memory.
I think eventually I got to the
true.
point where I was like, look, I'm not deflating it. Especially when it came time to the summer, my brother went back home for a couple of months to work, and so it was just me and his roommate Jonathan, and I just like still slept on the air mattress in the living room.
Oh, you should have cashed in on his bed while he was gone.
Yeah, I think the only thing I did in my brother's room was one time I needed to set up my computer to work, and do editing. So I did I remember spending hours working on a visual effects shot for Sunnyside Drive, in there. But other than that, I pretty much hung out, in the living room.
In the living room?
Yeah.
A question that I had for you that I think is kind of, I wouldn't say rampant in the film industry, but a lot of people believe that film school is not necessary in order to, be successful in the film industry. What would you say? Do you think that film school is something that people coming out of high school should consider doing, or should they just try to, go in as a PA, maybe join a union, like one of the local IATSE, or do you think that film school is something that's necessary for upcoming filmmakers?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not necessary. You could definitely work in film without it, for sure. I think there was a lot of perks that we found that was helpful. And I think it's funny because there's so many things out there like no film school or like film school rejects or things like that. It's all kind of like based around that concept of like, we didn't go to film school, but we're filmmakers, you know. And I think a lot of people probably take a lot of pride in that, you know, because they've kind of made it on their own. I mean, like, obviously, we talked about Tarantino last episode.
Yeah. He's probably like the textbook example.
Exactly. He's so famous for saying, like, he didn't go to film school. He went to films or whatever. He watched movies, you know. And so for sure, you could do it without going to film school, especially if you want to go the route of, like you were saying, going into a union or being a PA or whatever and working your way up, like especially the technical side of things. You want to be in that more. I would definitely say that you probably don't need film school for that. But what we found, the perks of film school were networking. That was probably one of the biggest ones. Obviously, I met Brad at film school, you know, and we started a company together, and a collaborative, creative effort that we now every single day are building on because we met at film school.
Yeah.
What else? There's a lot of other perks too.
I mean, I think I don't know, either way you cut it, like obviously it doesn't matter, you know, there's no right answer to this. So it's like, if you don't go to film school, then that's fine. If you go to film school, that's fine. What really is the determining factor, I think, and we kind of touched on it earlier, is if you actually put in the work.
Drive.
If you have the drive and the initiative to actually try to make movies and try to do it, you know, to the point. Like the first stuff you're going to make, and I think this would be a really good tip for like people starting out, is knowing that the first movie you're going to make, or even the first handful, are not going to be your best.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not going to have that like Oscar winning movie. You're not going to have that, you know, idea that, you know, everyone's going to go, oh, your first movie is the most, you know, important movie you're ever going to make. Like, that's so like wrong and almost like the worst way to look at it, because it's like, that's why you just need to go out and make stuff, because it's not like, you know, don't be too afraid to make something and be bad, because you're going to learn from it and make something better the next time, and even better the next time. And from there,
it's okay if it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, you're learning. You're trying to get your feet wet.
But I agree. Like for me personally, like the networking and just being able to meet someone like Luke who has the same type of drive, and like we really gel on, you know, our interest in film, a creative, you know, space. You know, that was, you know, so important to me that I would say, you know, go to film school, because you have the opportunity to meet people like that. You know, a lot of the friends that we still have are from film school.
Oh, yeah.
Or
all
even,
the crew
you know,
that we use.
Yeah, or bringing, you know, once we brought you on, and like everyone that you went to film school with, even though, you know, we were still both under the umbrella of UNG, you know, you were at the Gainesville campus while we were at the Dahlonega campus, and, you know, all the people you worked with, you know, and went to school through, like, we still work with a lot, you know, and, you know, we do Halloween episodes with Adam Neal, who, you know, Luke and I went to film school with.
Yeah.
You know, it's like those network possibilities, and too, the, like, you don't just think about the people you meet in film school, but like what you did in college. I know a big thing for us in our success, like Luke was saying, you know, working for the visual arts department, that's because we were students. You know, they knew us. You know, we had that relationship with them that we had built, you know, as them being professors and heads of the department, and us being students, you know, that it was a smaller department. It wasn't huge. There weren't like hundreds and hundreds of people. So it's like you get to know them a lot better. You know, same thing, you know, Luke worked at the bookstore at UNG. So, you know, he was in contact with people that later on became clients of ours at Sozo Bear Films. Same with me. You know, I interned with the undergraduate admissions department, you know, who is, you know, we just did videos with again, you know, this past year.
Yeah.
And, you know, we graduated in 2015, you know, so I mean, years later, it just kind of builds and snowballs, where I guess you could still make those connections from, you know, just going out and doing it on your own. It's definitely possible, but I think, you know, a lot of our success is owed to going to film school.
Yeah. And like you were saying, like, it doesn't matter. It depends on the person. Like, they have to put in that drive, because there's plenty of people who go to film school and then they never make a film again, or they never work in film after that.
Film school, art school, any type of career. It's like, if you want, if you want to be a personal trainer or an accountant, it's like you better like have that drive when you're starting out, because it's like no one's going to just hand you the job.
Right.
You know?
If you don't have the passion or the drive for this industry, I guess specifically, or maybe any industry, I mean, it's just not for you. It's just almost impossible to make it, because no one hands out the jobs to you on
no
like
one's
a silver
forcing you
platter.
to do it. So once you're out of the idea of school, it's like, and that was a big thing for us. Like, do you want to still make movies, when you're out of college? If you want to, we consider ourselves directors, filmmakers, producers. So a big, portion of our company is we want to make sure we're still making that. We didn't want to, have the apology service be our, senior capstone project at school. It's a film, it does all right, and then we created a company and we never do anything, relatively close to that again.
Yeah, we basically said if we're going to be filmmakers, we have to make films, and and every year we make sure we're making some kind of short film, and now we're just expanding on that with Encounters being a series where we're going to make multiple short films for an anthology, and then each year we submit those films to festivals, which leads to just more opportunities. We're meeting people at the festivals, networking with those people. Terrell, our producer on Encounters, we met him because of
festivals.
The film festival circuit. And so there's so many opportunities out there. And if you're going to keep making those movies yourself, and I think a lot of times people ask us like, well, they don't quite understand why we're making short films if we're not making a bunch of money from them, because it's not like a paying client where we're paid to make a commercial and that pays the bills. But those short films still comes back to us. We still have these returns on it. I mean, number one, and just our overall happiness in what we do, that's important, of course. And then also it returns it to us in ways like just people, a lot of times someone has seen our original content and then hired us for a project because of that. It's led to us creating our own festival, Sozo Bear Presents a Night at the Movies. That's us being able to showcase what we created, and then not only that, but showcase what other filmmakers out there all over the world who are submitting. They were able to showcase that there's really talented people out there like doing exactly what we're doing, making their own original content. And we're trying to have a platform for that, especially in like a smaller town like Dahlonega, Georgia. It's a really cool outlet, creative outlet.
And you get to meet people that have the same drive and passion that you do, and that's the coolest part. In my opinion, like whenever we go and travel to film festivals, I
thought your favorite part was the like eating at restaurants.
Oh yes, 100%. Well, slight tangent. The thing is, when me and Brad go, we can kind of just
eat whatever.
Unfortunately, just because of your dietary restrictions, I am calling you out. We have to kind of like tone it back a little bit. But me and Brad, we're over here like, all right, are there any Guy Fieri restaurants that have been reviewed?
Dude, that was really good. Where did we go? Where was that?
It was this burger joint in South Carolina. I think it was South Carolina.
Yeah. Where's the?
It was like Columbus or Columbia or something.
That was Columbia.
Columbia, yeah. It was the film festival was Indie Grits.
Yeah.
But to be fair, when you and I went on our road trip, we watched a whole bunch of Guy Fieri episodes in our terrifying hotel we stayed in.
Okay. I don't think that hotel was that bad. We were just on the outside portion.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as Brad and I stayed in one time. We thought we were going to be murdered.
It's like if you've seen the scenes from No Country for Old Men, where Anton Chigurh is about to kill Josh Brolin's character, and they're at that motel. Like, we were there, and I felt like a roach was going to crawl across my face as I was sleeping. I don't even think
the door didn't even really lock properly.
Yeah, it was a very crazy experience. But jumping back, I guess I feel like flipping it on you, Ellis, because you've been kind of doing a lot of the questions here. Like, what was tell us your story and like getting involved in Sozo Bear Films, but also like, why did you want to join a independent film company like us?
Well, I started in high school. I was part of the production class, And we did a lot of after school stuff like filming football games. It was more of a broadcast class than it was filmmaking, but I learned a lot. I learned how to use Premiere. I learned which is a editing software by Adobe. And I learned how to use After Effects, which is for visual effects in Adobe. And
that's when you kind of started your visual effects kind of self-teaching.
Because I was originally in robotics, and I like had this mindset that I was going to do mechanical or electrical engineering when I grew up. But it's not what I really wanted to do, and I just took this broadcast class because I thought it sounded fun. And it turned out to be something that I was really interested in. Not so much like live newscasting, but just filmmaking in general. And so in college, I decided that I was just going to go all in and do film. And through a mutual friend of ours, I met Brad, and we worked together on a shoot. And then from there, I got invited out maybe a year later.
Was it a year later?
I think it was a little bit later. I think it was close to a year.
Okay.
You just randomly sent me a text one day and asked if I wanted to go on this shoot for Gordon State College.
Yeah.
Which was the first time I ever met Luke, and it was like 4:00 in the morning because it was like a 3-hour drive. And I was like in a car with like someone I've met once and then someone I've never met before, and I was like, let's do it.
It's still like pitch black dark outside.
I remember, and I think we have like behind the scenes footage of this, but like we were so tired. I know like physically you could tell on me, like I could have passed out at any given moment.
But from the Troll of Gordon State,
and that was the commercial.
That was the commercial that we shot for Gordon State College. It was called The Troll of Gordon State. From there, I think I worked on maybe 1 or 2 more jobs with you before we went to Florida for Andy Velo's music video.
Yeah.
And then it was really weird because I just kept getting these jobs where I was in car rides with you guys for a very extended like period of time, where we just had these like really long car rides.
Yeah,
that's why we bonded.
That is how we bonded.
For sure. I feel like too, like coming back from the Andy Velo shoot, like that was cool because we got to stay, you know, at the beach and, you know, got to hang out. You know, it was like not just, okay, we did the job, you know, we part ways, whatever. It was like, you know, we were able to, you know, eat crab and like, you know, have like
watch Naked and Afraid every night.
Yeah, I think that was during the time when Luke was like super into watching that.
Dude, anytime I go to the beach, it's like, it's always on TV. It plays constantly. So I would watch it every time I went to the beach.
That's how I feel about diners and like dive-ins and drives.
Really?
Yeah.
Triple D.
I just don't have, I haven't had real TV in so many years, like most part of the decade, you know, I had real TV. Yeah. So when I see real TV, I'm like, wow.
You just binge on it.
Yeah, binged out on Naked and Afraid.
Anyways, from the beach, we did the Amazing Anti-Fart Formula, which was the first time that besides me, we brought on some other people that I went to film school with, I believe.
Maybe, yeah.
Because
and then we did a UNG commercial, but I don't remember if that was before the fart
movies.
Formula.
Like before that, we had used people we worked with, like from our film school. Yeah. Really, a lot of it, like when we were in school, like Sunnyside Drive. And even still on the fart formula, we brought in people. But yeah, like that was when you were starting to introduce us to other people.
It was like a unique mix too, I think, because you guys had people from your films, from your time at film school, and then people that I brought in from film school, and we just had this unique team of individuals that had not really ever worked with each other before. But we ended up making what like is probably my favorite movie that we still have.
Yeah.
And then from there, I decided when I was in my my senior year at college, I wanted to do an internship with Sozo Bear Films, and I was looking for something that was visual effects related because that's what I ultimately wanted to do was visual effects.
Hey, did you try to get any other? Did you like apply for any other internships, or did you just apply here?
No, I went all in on this one.
Oh, okay.
Well,
thank you.
I take that back. I take that back because there was. The year before that, I tried doing an internship with Moonshine Post-Production, and the timing just wasn't right, honestly, for that internship. And whenever I was in my senior year, that was really the time I needed it. And I was like, I really like working with Luke and Brad. I'll see if I can get this internship because I know they were looking for people. So I sent you guys a message, and you said that like you were, I think, in talks with like some other people that were like trying to do an internship, but I ended up coming on for it.
Yeah.
It ended up being such a huge part of the year also.
Yeah, for
just
sure.
Because, I mean, for one, Ellis was a really dedicated intern, and he wanted to come in like every day pretty much. And we ended up, pitching this idea to Amy Ray where we were going to put her in outer space without knowing how we were going to achieve it. We kind of said it before we even thought it through.
Yeah.
But really that was awesome. It kind of put us in this pinch where we're like, all right, let's figure out how do we make visual effects in outer space. And that was really just that perfect timing, of life of things coming together, where Ellis came on as an intern. He knew how to do CGI type things, that we literally never done. Brad and I, we did, little type visual effects things, but a lot of stuff we had been doing were practical effects.
Yeah.
And that's actually what we were thinking. We were thinking we're going to have to model that spaceship like out of.
Yeah, I remember you
something.
started like trying to make the model, and luckily, we brought in some talented guys to do that as well. Tucker and Woody Martin.
Yeah,
Tucky.
Just combined their names.
Yeah, they're twin brothers.
Yeah, and they designed the ship, and then everything else. Ellis composited it. Created the planets.
And that was a lot, but it was so rewarding because I learned so much from that project.
And you were just thrown into the fire on that. It was that like. You had to, it was sink or swim kind of. We had this project for a really big client, it was a big project, that a lot of people are going to see, because Amy Ray's fan base and everything, and it was your senior exhibition basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
The cool part though was like the semester before, it was like the very end of the semester, I was sitting in anthropology, and you sent me a text in my car before I went in and said, do you know how to make like planets and like nebulas and stuff? And I was like, thinking to myself, I was like, I can do it, but it's gonna be pretty tough. And then I like opened my phone, and there's an ad from like videocopilot.net that's like new plugin to make planets, and I was like, what?
Stars
and
aligning,
like I
quite
just like
literally.
I send it to Luke, and I'm like, check this out. I was like, this is cool.
Or they were just spying on us so hard that it knew what you needed.
But I think the awesome thing with bringing you on too was that like the year before we had given you some editing work, because our course load or our workload had gotten so big that we needed some additional help, and that you were able to do that. So we knew that
you were learning our style.
Yeah,
of
you
editing.
were learning our style. We could bring you in that capacity as well, as well as the visual effects. You were very great worker on set, so it's like you were kind of like the total package, and like bring you onto the team.
The total package.
That is not the. Never mind. So I mean, it was super rewarding during that internship. I learned a lot. Towards the end, like I think I had like 15 visual effects shots that I needed to do in like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh. And so I brought my PC home, and I literally just hashed out like, I think in like one weekend, like maybe like 10 of the visual effects, like think from like 8 a.m. until close to the end of the day. I like woke up and did them all. And this is also at the same time I'm doing visual effects for a friend of mine from film school for his movie. And so I'm doing both of them at the same time, like throughout the entire day, trying to just knock them out. And I ended up finishing like ahead of schedule on it, which was awesome.
Just bragging on yourself.
Yes. It was really hard.
Sounds like it. I remember that because it was like you just plowing through it, sending them to us online. We would like test it out in the edit, and we're like, okay, perfect, or like kind of alter that just a little bit. But like even some of the stuff that people wouldn't even think about, like her being on the screen projected, like clicking the buttons on the sending the transmission, like all that stuff is like visual effects that Ellis worked on. Like you had to recreate her finger for a shot. Yes, right?
That was actually my favorite shot that I worked on.
Oh really?
Just because we recreated her finger, and then I like duplicated it, masked it out, and created this like reflection inside the glass. and it was the first time too that I've ever made like a unique graphic that is animated that would be displayed on like a screen or something like that, which really came in handy for this latest episode of Encounters.
Yeah.
But that was actually really fun. It was my favorite shot to work on.
Nice. I never would have thought that.
Yeah.
I would have thought one of the nebulas
Right,
or
one
something.
of the more flashy ones.
Yeah.
It was the one I was the most proud of, that's for sure.
Cool.
Was that one because it was the hardest.
Cool. Let's talk about something. Any kind of current events or any funny topics that you might have in mind. I saw something funny, which is a TV show. Have you guys heard of Married at First Sight?
I can't say I have. What's it about?
I don't know.
Dude, they literally
Get married?
and they'd never met each other. It was crazy.
So it's like not
Sounds
just
like
a
an arranged
blind
marriage.
blind dating, it's blind marriage.
Right. You show up for your wedding.
What is this on TLC?
I don't know. So, Carrie was watching it, but it's, you go, I guess they submit, and then they haven't been able to find love, yet. And so they're like, I'm going to go for it.
So they're leaving it up for TV producers who are like, I just want the drama out of this.
And I don't know if they follow up with them or what, but they show up, and they've never, literally, they meet them on the aisle. I don't know.
This is reality?
I mean, this is a reality
show?
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
I thought that this was staged. That makes it way worse that it's a reality show.
Yeah.
It's insane. So they get married at first sight. I don't know.
What if they
it's
say
disturbing.
no?
Yeah, I don't
What
know.
if you're
I guess that's a
I don't wanna
possibility.
marry this
You're
guy?
holding their hand, and you're like, nah.
Do you just sign
out.
up for this? You're just like, yes, I consent to marrying this stranger.
They probably get a bunch of info on them, things they're into or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's
They try to
literally
play it.
what's that? Isn't it a website where they match people?
Like Match.com.
Match.com. It's in the title. No, I think it's like that, but you get married when you show
I
up.
don't know. Speaking from personal experience, just going on blind dates and stuff that friends set up for you is the most awkward thing that you can ever do.
Yeah, but
And,
that wasn't a TV producer setting it up for you.
See, I would trust them less though, because it's they're just in it for what's going to make the best TV, which
Yeah.
is not typically
Your best
you
interest.
falling in love. Yeah, it's going to be they're going to mismatch you in some way, or make it cause a fight, or have this
Yeah.
awkward tension or something. I don't know, but it just seems
It seems insane. But
Yeah.
anyways, that's something I saw recently that was bizarre.
I bet it's on TLC. I would almost put money
We could
on
Google
it.
it.
I don't
Yeah.
know what it is up with you guys and reality shows, man. Because
It's sometimes you just get caught in them, man.
I can't stop sometimes. What was the ones we watched, Brad?
Oh man.
These are guilty pleasures.
What was it? Paradise Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
It's those dating shows.
Love Island.
Love Island. Yeah.
Man, they're just, it's the worst. It's just, you can't stop watching these people who are, it's like a train wreck all the time. I don't know. It's just something about that kind of trashy TV that you get sucked into.
I don't know, man. Just that tension and stuff.
Yeah, but
I think it's you can enjoy it because you're detached from it, which is terrible to say, but it's almost watching.
It makes you feel better.
Yeah, I don't even know if it makes you feel.
I just can't look
but
away.
Yeah, it's like a train wreck you can't look away from.
I literally binged, Carrie and I both binged watched those shows. I don't know.
I just would not. This is just me. I'm different. I don't watch as much TV and stuff as you guys do.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't go out of my way to watch some reality shows like that.
Gotcha. I think it's easy. I don't know. For me, sometimes it's you could watch something really dense, and I'm trying to think watch Game of Thrones or whatever, and that's an hour of your time. But I know a lot of times I'm I'd rather watch either a 30-minute sitcom that I don't have to put too much investment in, or some reality TV thing that I could be doing something else and not really pay attention to. It's it's easier to fall into that where it's I'll just almost want something on for the background, or where I'm not really having to watch it and be super attentive or be invested in the story and make sure that I'm getting every plot point. And
Less of a
detail.
commitment.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I do that with YouTube and just let it play in the background,
Yeah.
so I can do other things.
Yeah.
So I get that.
All right, so also check this out. Have you guys ever heard of these organic burial pods? They
Yes.
turn bodies into trees.
Yes, I saw that the other day on Facebook.
No.
You can we can
wild.
throw up some graphics or something
Yeah.
for them, but the it says the end of coffins, organic burial pods turn bodies into trees. And basically it's like this company who I guess you hire them and they will bury your loved one inside this capsule, and
It's like a dirt capsule.
a dirt capsule thing that they can become a tree. So I guess it's like,
I am Groot.
I
Yes.
thought that was like the coolest thing in the world when I saw it.
Really?
I was like, I want to be a tree.
yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's definitely environmentally a much better option environmentally, and I guess that the loved ones can visit the tree instead of a gravestone. I guess that's the
guess.
idea.
That's
It's like you're not.
It's so
you're
far.
not really a tree though.
Well-
It's like
well,
just
yeah,
the way they
it's
like.
more of a sentimental like
Yeah.
feeling, but I think that that's way more sentimental than
I thought you would become the tree.
Yeah.
Though. No, but I mean, obviously. Anyways, to me it was a little bit disturbing just
yeah,
seeing
I
the
thought it was
that
concept
kind of
of.
disturbs me a little bit.
I mean, I guess it's all a little weird, like putting people in a box and burying
Yeah.
them's a little weird too. But we're so used to that custom. But like,
Mausoleums
look
are
at
kind of
in these
freaky.
pictures, they're
Yes.
they've basically bunched someone into a ball in the fetal position and stuck them in this thing and then buried them like that, and then they plant a tree on top
you
of
become
them.
the nutrients for new life.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Right, there's something beautiful about it
Yeah.
in terms of the cycle of life.
I guess.
There's also something a little disturbing about it.
I don't know.
Look up if Love at First Sight is on TLC.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to know for sure.
We could watch the trailer.
Let's see. Married at First Sight is
Yeah,
what it
Married
Yeah,
at
yeah,
First
yeah.
Sight.
looks like My Lifetime.
Oh, Lifetime.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's
good
on
thing I
Lifetime.
didn't really bet money on that.
I can pull it up.
Married at First Sight.
I hope that this doesn't like you guys like show me this trailer and then I'm like, now I have to go
Now
watch
you
the
can't
show, and then
stop
I
it.
get sucked into reality TV. I don't want to be in that.
I hope it does.
This is just like a sneak peek.
That's fine.
I cannot believe I'm about to marry a stranger.
The new season is the biggest yet.
What's happening?
With 5 couples. 2-hour episodes. And
2 hours?
drama.
I'm under the heat.
I need a drink. It's hard to
See, that's the irony too. It's like I'd rather watch this for 2 hours and just zone out.
It's 2-hour episodes though. That's longer than a Game of Thrones episode.
But it's like that thing when you're on Netflix and you like watch The Office for like the 100th time, but you end up watching like 3 hours. Yeah, that looks crazy.
That, oh my god, I don't know why anyone would ever want to do that. You have to be.
So that's a no from you.
You have to be just like down in the dumps or something to do something like that, and you just
I was thinking
as your last resort.
I was thinking we could sign you up for it.
Yeah, I was about
I
to
will
say
never,
you're
ever
going
do
to be
that.
really upset with us that we have signed you up.
I already did that.
Um,
So I guess we're not going to watch that on our lunch breaks. Never mind.
well, it's 2 hours long. You want to have a 2-hour lunch break?
With segments. We'd have to watch it in segments.
I was enjoying our Rick and Morty watches. Like, to be honest.
Yeah,
and-
Rick and Morty. We
and
do need to watch it,
Mandalorian.
Rick and Morty.
Um,
I saw a funny meme. I showed Ellis earlier this, but these it says multiple Star Wars lead actors have struggled with the habit of making their own sound effects for fight
I've
scenes.
heard about that.
To the point where numerous takes needed to be reshot because you could see the actors making lightsaber noises. Now, is that true, you think?
I don't know.
Like,
I
can we-
bet it's
Can we
true.
fact check this somehow? Because look it up, see if you can find something. I would totally see this happening because think about any time you've played around as a kid
Yeah,
or
you're
whatever. Yeah, like if I'm playing with my nephew Jack, he's got a bunch of lightsabers. So just the other day, we were doing that, and you have to do the sound effects. So I could imagine on set that would happen.
let's see. I think that it was Last Jedi. Laura Dern loves to pew pew too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but she didn't have a lightsaber.
but did she have a gun?
No,
I don't
she
know.
was Captain Holdo.
It says-
Yeah,
commanding that
I don't
ship.
remember.
It says she is the latest venerable actor to fall victim to this trend.
And she would go pew.
Yeah,
pew.
apparently she loved making like lightsaber sounds and like the little gun, laser gun sounds.
During a take.
Yeah,
They're like,
I
"You-
said while
you
they
don't
were
have a
shooting the
weapon."
scenes.
Now I'm trying to think. I mean, maybe like
Maybe you're wrong.
the First Order attacked the ship they were on, but I don't
Maybe you're
feel like
hey,
she was.
Brad, your memory's failing you, dude.
But it says that she's not the only one who's ever done that. It says when Ewan McGregor was cast as Obi-Wan Kenobi in The Phantom Menace, he
What-
found himself
what'd you call him?
How did you say his name? Ewan?
Is it Ewan?
It's Ewan?
You don't McGregor. You just said it like he was an actual Star Wars character. Ewan.
Ewok McGregor.
That, my entire life is a lie. No, how come no one has ever corrected me in my entirety of existence?
That's why you met.
That is,
That's why you met us, because I feel like that's every day.
Yeah.
We're pretty much correcting you on pronouncing something wrong. What does he call it? Willem Dafoe.
oh yeah,
William Defoe.
whatever.
It's William.
I said William Dafoe, and then you guys corrected me on that too. Look, this is why I don't watch movies. All right, this is
Because
why,
you don't
This is why. This is why I stick to what I know.
Because you don't want to pronounce names correctly.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid and I was like 8, I used to call Master Windu Master Window. So I mean,
Oh, okay. Window?
yes, I called him
You
Master
know-
Mace,
Window.
Mace Window.
You know what I thought was the hardest thing growing up was pronouncing some Pokemon's names.
Oh man, I could have
bet
schooled you in that.
Oh, I bet I say a bunch of them incorrectly.
I watched that anime way too much and learned all the pronunciations. But anyways,
All right, dude. Do you have any? Did you have anything, Ellis?
I was actually gonna like talk about the trees a little bit more, or like, have you seen those things? It's kind of similar, but it's not. It's like those, yeah. Like, have you seen that people that are doing like marathons now?
He said I was going to talk about the
Oh,
trees.
I know
a
what
little
you're
more.
talking about.
the little water ball things.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
Those are cool.
It's like this like invisible shelling that holds a thing of water, and now instead of using plastic
Water
bottles, that
Can I see it?
yeah, okay.
It's really neat. It looks super like Avatar sci-fi-ish.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you remember in the movie Ants, whenever he grabs like the water droplet?
Oh yeah.
It's
yeah.
like literally imagine one of those, and they take the ball and they just chew on it, and it like is water, and then it just becomes water.
Oh no, I got to see it. That sounds cool.
it's-
The edible
crazy.
water bottle that could bring it into plastic.
Can Zevia make one of
So
these?
this is a plastic bottle for all of you. For me, it's a problem.
See, look at these. It's an edible water bottle.
Wait, so how does the water not just go everywhere? You just take it in one bite.
Yeah, you just take it in one bite, or you can put your teeth against it and just like push the water into your mouth.
Seaweed extract.
Yeah, so it looks like you just have like a blob of water.
Dude, welcome to the future,
So there's
guys.
two ways to drink it. One is you put it on your mouth and you splash it. The other one is you bite a bit and you're going to try it.
Yeah, see?
When
Oh,
you
And it's got a little
empty
skin,
your
but the
container,
skin
you
like
can eat the
dissolves in
membrane
your
So-
mouth or
Do
whatever.
you
So
eat
I
the
guess
skin?
You can.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
He just ate it.
I guess it's like one of those things where like you can't really drink it like a normal water bottle like that, where you take a few sips and then you set it down. You know,
No.
it looked like it was like, you know, it works perfect for a marathon where you got like,
Yeah, they're
you
like
know,
on the
drink it.
run and they just grab one of
Yeah.
these little like
Instead of them
water
taking
spheres
a Dasani and then crushing it and
and
you know,
throwing it in the road.
throwing it,
Yeah, you just and you got water.
Yeah, I wonder what the sensation's like.
I don't know. I imagine it's just like this like thin skin.
Dude, but the ant scene is such a good example. Do you think we could find that?
Maybe like the ant's water droplet where he like picks it
Ant's
up and
water.
drinks it.
Oh,
Which one is it?
He was like on a leaf
that
or
it?
something.
I don't know. I've never seen ants.
What?
Oh, that was like whenever I used to go to the doctor when I was a kid. Like I'd be out of school or whatever.
You watch ants?
They had this little like sitting area with the TV,
Uh-huh.
and it was like the kids doctor, and you'd go in there, and like the movie they always put on was Ants,
They
which
play
was
it all
such
the
a
time?
weird, yeah, and it was a weird choice for a group of small kids to
Uh-huh.
watch, but
I love the quote in The Office, where Michael Scott says his favorite Woody Allen movie is Ants.
That's hilarious.
Dude, this movie looks way worse than I remember.
Well, I think someone filmed this, but look,
You can literally like see the polygons in there.
Look, they're in the water droplet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But they do.
But they do drink one.
They do drink it. Like she does it here at the beginning of the clip, but.
Yeah, she just.
Nice. That's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, I really want to try one, but I don't know where to get them.
You got to run a marathon.
And they just appear. How do they ship them? It's like.
It looks like I'm starting my montage training. That's the next step. I'm going to start running up your hill, which, by the way, Luke's driveway is the steepest driveway
It's very
on
steep.
the planet.
Yeah.
It's very steep.
Walking up it, you're just completely out of breath, and your heart is just on fire.
I have to warn
On
people
fire.
on their, like, if they're coming here, just in case their vehicle's not up to the job.
I mean, we walked up yesterday, and I got in here, and I was like,
That's just
for 10 minutes,
yeah.
man. It was
We got to
the
train
worst.
you up, man.
Dude, I'm working on it. This intermittent fasting is like amazing. It's like
You think it's helping
free
you,
weight
like-
loss.
Have you already started losing weight?
I have.
And what, you just started like this week?
Yeah, I'm down. I think it was like 2 pounds. But
Dude,
Okay,
we need
nice.
to do a weight loss challenge. This is going to be like the Joe Rogan experience. We're talking about intermittent fasting and have a weight loss challenge.
we should do it. we should compare different like weight loss
Techniques.
things, like like keto versus like intermittent fasting, and see
Yeah.
which one works better. But intermittent fasting is like the easiest diet I've ever been on. Dead
Because
serious.
you just don't eat for a little
Yes.
while.
Well, let's hope you don't change it soon.
I hope not.
You need to be consistent with
Well,
Ellis-
now I'm held accountable by the audience.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Ellis is he likes to speak in absolutes, so
Yes.
you'll probably hear him say a lot of things,
but not live an absolute.
yeah, not live them
Yes.
out, but you'll hear him say things constantly that are just either the best ever or the worst ever. And he told us one day that he was going to eat lean cuisines every day from now
For
on
the rest of his life.
Okay.
for the rest of his life.
If we're going to touch on food for a second, though, now hold on a second, because these guys also like to make fun of the fact that I like to eat different things every day. Now, I don't know about
I don't feel like we make fun of
you guys are like, I love seeing what you bring for lunch, when these guys over here eat the same meal every single day in and day out,
Us and our
like a
rabbit
sociopath.
food.
It's 'cause-
you don't even change the dressing on your salad. It's the same dressing.
No, I changed that out.
I've seen that strawberry dressing like the whole time I've been here.
There's
you don't even change your dressing,
there's Greek dressing in the fridge. I just can't have it because I'm on that fast.
dude. It's true though. We pretty much eat the same thing. Brad and I ate rice, the same rice thing for like a year. Where Uncle Ben's rice,
yeah.
we ate these little
Instant-
bags of rice, instant rice, literally every day for a year.
And
Then my
that's true.
my microwave broke, and
That's what really, like, I think forced us to be healthy.
yeah, we switched to like salads and stuff after that.
And
But
let's talk about your Brussels sprouts, especially
yeah.
when we were in Florida.
oh,
man.
dude, I ate Brussels sprouts for like a year straight, like every single meal, every
Who
day
does that?
almost. It was that was a little insane. I'll
Yeah.
admit.
Brussels sprouts are good, though.
They are good. They don't smell great when you're cooking
It's
them like
terrible. We came back from the beach and like you were cooking Brussels sprouts, and we
Yeah.
opened the door. We're like, whoa.
that. I don't know what's wrong with me though. I'll get stuck on a food like that. It's because we're geniuses. Like what's his name? Who was it? They never changed. They wore the same outfit every day, so they wouldn't have to think about
Hey
it.
Arnold?
It's like a cartoon character.
No, dude. No, it was
I-
Steve Jobs or something. Somebody
Oh.
would wear the same outfit every day. No, that's not really my excuse. It's just that I get into something and I'm stuck. I have to eat it every day.
That's
There's probably other
my-
people
my
out there.
tendencies of a sociopath. So
My
It's probably-
excuse is it's easy, it's healthy, and it's cheap.
Cheap.
So,
well, I just like to not hate eating. So
Yeah. Hey, so if you're still listening after all this time, thank you for staying with us. There's something cool you can do. There's a way you can actually send us voice messages through, if you're listening on Spotify or whatever, there should be a little link at the bottom. You can click on it. You can record a voice message, send it to us. say something cool, ask us a question, whatever. We might share it on the podcast.
Yeah. Also, Apple Podcasts, pretty much most major podcast systems, or if you're watching on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, give us a review, anything you can do just to, help, push the word about the Sozo Bear Films Friends from Film School podcast.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Let's wrap it up.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
Bye.